And our first topic we're going to be talking about is fibermaxxing. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't. I know I've seen some stuff online surrounding the topic. It's a new health trend circulating online, but what does it entail and will it actually improve your health? I wanted to dive into the topic as a whole. I'm joined virtually now by Shanti Appello, registered dietitian and health and wellness spokesperson for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. Shanti, thanks so much for joining us here virtually. Tell me a little bit about this. For anyone who hasn't heard of it, what is fibermaxxing? What does it entail?
Yeah, so the term kind of comes from looks maxing, which a lot of people were doing on TikTok. Now, fibermaxing is a health trend that actually a lot of dietitians can get behind. It seems like there's been so many questionable ones out there, from chlorophyll water, detox teas, and everything like that. So this is intentionally either aiming for your fiber goals or even exceeding it. And this is important because about 90% of Americans are not even getting close to their fiber goals. Just for reference, that's 25 grams a day for women, 38 grams a day for men. Most people are getting in the 10 to 15 gram range.
Yeah, I know that I have recently started paying a little bit closer attention to my macronutrients, and I'm trying to eat pretty healthy, but I'm rarely hitting, as you mentioned, that 25-gram goal for women. It can be tricky. If someone, at any rate, is trying to eat more fiber, what kinds of things are we talking about adding into our diet? And then we can get into sort of the benefits of this or the precautions to take. But, what kinds of things really are fibrous that folks can be adding to their diet?
Yeah, so a few categories of foods are going to be especially rich: nuts and seeds, whole grains, fruits and vegetables as categories. But raspberries, chickpeas, avocados, and apples are especially high in fiber. You can also make little swaps throughout the day. So starting with breakfast, you can add some ground flax seeds or chia seeds to your smoothie or oatmeal or yogurt. Also, anytime you swap a white bread for a whole wheat bread, that's going to be a great option. It's going to add a few grams. And just snacking can be a good way to pay attention to your fiber intake as well. Having a small apple with peanut butter is going to add that in there, especially if you choose the ones with whole peanuts in it. And also popcorn's a great source.
Yeah, and obviously we want to be eating fiber. That's an important part of what we should be consuming on a daily basis. But as far as really working hard to reach that goal or even exceeding those suggested fiber intake amounts, what's the purpose there? What's the benefit that people could potentially be seeing?
Yeah, so it makes your gut really happy. Fiber kind of feeds that beneficial gut bacteria, and so it promotes a healthy gut microbiome. And we're seeing more and more research that the gut is related to so many other parts of our body. So a lot of people are reporting better skin, better mood, as related to that gut health. It also helps with blood sugar regulation and helps with supporting insulin sensitivity. So that's especially helpful for people with type 2 diabetes. Heart health, it plays a big role as well, because high fiber diets can help lower LDL cholesterol. That's that L for lousy cholesterol, and boost HDL cholesterol, which is the good kind of cholesterol. And then overall, it just helps with making sure our bowel movements keep consistent, prevents constipation, and keeps us feel fuller for longer. So there's lots there.
And I know you talked about sort of that goal that we want to be, aiming for, man versus woman, what we want to kind of be looking for there. Is there a downside to overdoing this? So many things can be beneficial in moderation, but of course, when you overdo anything, there can kind of be some backfire. Is there a point where we need to say, okay, don't go past this amount, or, don't be doing, every single meal or something like that? Is there a point where you kind of want to max out, how high you're going with the fibermaxxing?
Sure, I think that's a great question. And the way that you can go about this the wrong way is just doing too much too fast. If you're going from a really low fiber to a high fiber overnight, can lead to bloating, gas, and cramping. We want to take it a little bit at a time, few grams over a few weeks time, to let your digestive system get used to it. Another way that it can go wrong is if you don't have enough water. So fiber is going to need fluid to move through your digestive tract and prevent constipation, because fiber acts like a sponge. So making sure we load up on water, which is also great for all things in the body. So basically start slow and hydrate.
And I think something that's super popular right now, I know I've seen it with fiber, and it's not necessarily new, but I see it also with greens, very popular online, is these different sorts of supplements or powders to try and help you reach these goals as far as fruit and vegetable vitamins, fiber, things like that. Ultimately, and correct me if I'm wrong, we want to be trying to get these different nutrients from whole foods really is the best way. Supplements aren't necessarily bad, but to be supplementing everything can also be problematic. Can you talk a little bit about that where, okay, I want to increase my fiber. I don't just want to pop some sort of a fiber pill every day.
Exactly. So when you eat the whole food, it's going to come along with so many other benefits. There's more nutrients involved. Oftentimes, we're going to get a lot of those phytonutrients, basically a fancy name for these beneficial compounds that are in plants. So lots more vitamins and minerals and these phytonutrients and antioxidants oftentimes. Now, supplements, if that's something that's going to help you reach your goal, there's nothing wrong with doing a little bit, but you can definitely overdo it. I'm definitely on your page here. Real food is going to be best, but it can be good just to add a little bit if you're really not close to meeting those goals.
And ultimately, if someone at home right now is hearing about this for the first time and they're interested in potentially, adding this into their daily routine, I know you touched on it a couple of minutes ago, but what really is the best approach to, okay, I'd like to see my fiber be a bit higher, potentially seeing some of those health benefits. What's the best way, to really go about it? And it's not, oh my gosh, tomorrow I'm going to have 50 grams of fiber. That is not the way to do it, as you just explained.
Yes. Some uncomfortable aftermath there. I think look at your current intake, right? Like evaluate what you're usually eating for breakfast, what you're usually eating for lunch and dinner snacks. Look at ways that you can incorporate more fruits and vegetables, maybe more nuts and seeds. Also look at recipes that you can incorporate more recipes with. For example, I mentioned the chickpeas, black beans. Those are going to be great sources. So maybe you can look at ways you incorporate more black bean burgers or, hummus into your snacks and using brown rice instead of white rice. So it's really being intentional about little things throughout the day. I think you make a really good point because we've seen protein become so big and we're seeing products all out there that everything is enhanced with protein. And so take a little bit of a similar approach that where are some different ways that I can add fiber?
Yeah, absolutely. I know the protein trend is very similar, but all of a sudden you're having all of this synthetic or artificial protein, and that can kind of backfire on you in different health ways as well. Really focusing on those whole foods, I know, is what's most important, potentially with a little bit of supplement. All right, well, Shanti, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I know we're hopefully going to talk to you about some other health topics next week as well here on Evening Plus, so I really appreciate your time. I always want to verify these hot trends before anyone's trying them at home, so thank you for your expertise tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
Have a great night.